They said the palace was cursed. They said no living soul should walk there after midnight. But every night, a woman did. And she fell in love with the king who had been dead for 300 years. This is the story of the woman who loved a dead king. In the ancient kingdom of Eldoria, there stood a palace abandoned by time. Its walls were cracked, its halls empty, and its throne covered in thick layers of dust. No one dared to enter it, because every night, at exactly midnight, footsteps would echo through its desolate halls. Not the footsteps of guards, nor of thieves, but of a king who refused to leave this world. Amara was a temple scribe, young, intelligent, and sworn to a sacred vow she must never fall in love. Her duty was to write history, not become part of it. Yet every night, while copying ancient scrolls by candlelight, she heard them. Soft, measured, lonely footsteps. Over time, her curiosity slowly began to defeat her fear. On the night of the full moon, Amara followed the sound. Inside the palace throne room, she saw him. A man stood beneath the broken chandelier, bathed in moonlight. He was tall and regal, wearing a cracked golden crown. His body was transparent, ghostly, but his eyes shone like silver. He turned toward her and said calmly, "You are late, my queen." Amara's heart froze in her chest. "I am not your queen," she whispered, her voice trembling. "You are dead." The king smiled with a deep sadness. "I died waiting for you." His name was King Aurelian. 300 years ago, on the night of his wedding, he was betrayed by his closest guards, poisoned, stabbed, and left to die on the cold palace floor. But the worst pain was not the betrayal, not even death itself. It was the fact that his bride never came. And so, his soul became trapped, bound to the palace by an unfinished love. As he told his story, Amara realized something terrifying. She looked exactly like the bride from the old paintings hanging on the wall. Night after night, Amara returned. They talked until dawn about the past, about their dreams, about loneliness. She began to forget he was a ghost, and he began to forget she was alive. And somewhere between whispered words and silent tears, they fell in love. But a love between the living and the dead is never free. It always demands a price. The temple elders discovered her secret. They consulted an ancient prophecy scroll, its words illuminated by the fire. If the dead king loves again, one soul must take his place. One must die so the other may live. The prophecy did not specify whose soul, but the elders already knew. They carved a single name into the death stone, Amara. On the final night of the full moon, King Aurelian held Amara's hands. "At dawn, I will finally be free," he said, his voice filled with hope. Amara smiled, hiding her tears. Just then, the temple bells began to ring, slow, heavy, funereal. Aurelian saw the truth in her eyes. "What did you do?" he asked, his voice breaking. "I chose love," she whispered. As the first rays of sun broke through the window, Amara collapsed into his arms. Her body began to fade, becoming as translucent as he once was. And for the first time in 300 years, the king screamed. At dawn, the villagers saw a man walk out of the cursed palace. He was alive, breathing, free. King Aurelian had returned to the world of the living. But inside the throne room, a woman now walked at midnight. Her footsteps echoed softly through the empty halls. And when someone asked who she was, a whisper answered from the shadows, "I am the queen who stayed." If love could trap the dead, what could it do to the living? Subscribe for more ancient stories of love, loss, and legends.